We now move over to Europe, where Europe rallies behind a special tribunal to prosecute President Putin for aggression against Ukraine, as ministers sign the Lviv statement. Here's what Ukrainian Prime Minister denies Shamyal and the EU Foreign Minister Policy Chief Kaja Kallas had to say.
Ухильно наближаємося до старту роботи спецтрибуналу для вищих посадових осіб Росії, які віддавали злочинні накази. Країни коаліції провели велику юридичну підготовку. Сьогодні буде прийнято політичне рішення про схвалення роботи цих юридичних команд. Сам процес формування і запуску спеціального трибуналу в межах.
I'm very happy that we are here together with the European foreign ministers celebrating this European Day with you. It marks the day of peace, and of course this is what we want also for Ukraine. Our presence today marks the unity of an unwavering solidarity with Ukraine. If you stand for peace, you should stand here in Ukraine, not in Moscow today. Russia is still waging the most devastating war since 1945 here in Ukraine. 8 years ago, Hitler bombed Ukraine. Today, Putin is doing the same.
This comes as France, Germany, Poland and the UK arrive for a historic joint visit to Kyiv, joining the US in pushing for a ceasefire. President Emmanuel Macron, German Chancellor Friedrich Merz, UK Prime Minister Keir Starmer and Polish Prime Minister Donald Tusk will hold talks with Ukraine's President Volodymyr Zelensky. The four leaders are calling for an immediate 30-day ceasefire in Ukraine and have vowed to ramp up pressure on Russia if it refuses. French President Emmanuel Macron also wants a joint US-Europe plan to enforce the truce with massive sanctions. Meanwhile, Slovak Prime Minister Robert Fico defied EU warnings and met Russian President Vladimir Putin in Moscow. Fico said it was an honor to attend Russia's World War II memorial. He pledged to veto any EU energy embargo on Russia. Putin used the Moscow parade to draw parallels between Russia's war and the Soviet victory over Nazi Germany. He praised troops fighting in Ukraine and accused the West of Russophobia. Russia says it backs a 30-day ceasefire in Ukraine, but the Kremlin wants key conditions addressed first. Spokesperson Dmitry Peskov said the idea came from Ukraine and the US, but requires clarity on what a ceasefire means. Here's Kremlin spokesman Dmitry Peskov.
Эту тему, она же давно бросалась украинской стороной, и, если вы знаете, тема перемирия, собственно, как только она была озвучена администрацией Трампа, она была поддержана президентом Путиным с оговоркой о том, что вокруг идеи перемирия существует огромное количество нюансов, не найдя ответа на которые предметно говорить очень сложно.
Meanwhile, President Putin praised Russian troops fighting in Ukraine at Moscow's World War II parade, attended by allies including China's Xi Jinping. In Washington, US President Donald Trump urged both leaders to end this stupid war. Here's what he said.
So both parties get this war ended. We're losing 5,000 soldiers a week, Russian and Ukrainian soldiers, and other people also, by the way. And I say, get this stupid war finished. That's my message for both of them.
The White House also confirmed a productive call between Trump and Zelensky. The White House said both sides are in talks with hopes that a ceasefire deal could be reached soon. Here's what the White House Press Secretary Caroline Leavitt said.
And yesterday, President Zelensky called the president to tell him that the critical minerals deal had passed the parliament in Ukraine. I talked to the president about that call. He said it was very good and productive. And of course, the critical minerals deal is great for Ukraine, but also, of course, for the United States of America and our taxpayers here. It was a good call. And they also spoke about, of course, this ceasefire that the president proposed, the 30-day ceasefire between Russia and Ukraine, which we know Europe is on board with. And we hope both